I'm excited to talk about the technology that you're building to assist blind people, mostly because when I was like a small child, like around age 8, my dad was working on some projects related to being able to see the environment and create some sort of noise structures so that people could help, like it would help blind people navigate their environment. But this is like, the advancement 100,000 times, right? So what exactly have you built?
What we've built with Envision is a smart class solution that helps people with a visual impairment to live more independently using computer vision. So it's basically the Envision glasses is the main sort of product, and it's a tool that helps a visually impaired person to read text from any printed surface, be it a document, be it a computer screen, be it like a Coca-Cola can, for example, in over 60 different languages from pretty much any font that you can think of. It can help them recognize faces of their friends and family, so you can teach it to recognize faces. You can also teach it objects around you, so it can recognize objects like your coffee mug and things like that. And apart from all the AI stuff, the glasses also allow you to make a video call directly from a friend, from the glasses to a friend or a family member. So, when you're wearing the glasses, it's got like it's got a camera in there so that they see, the person on the other end of the video call sees your first person perspective. They get your audio, they get your video, and then the visually impaired glasses user gets the audio. So they can make video calls directly from the glasses as well. And the main idea is that you don't really have to hold a phone in your hand, because when you have a phone, you also have a cane or a guide dog in the other hand, and your hands aren't free anymore. You're just pointing stuff around, and it's an incredibly frustrating, cumbersome experience. And smart glasses really solve that problem of having your hands free and being able to do things more easily. Yeah, that's what we do.
That's amazing. And why this? There's so many problems out in the world. Why solve this one?
So it all started, when about 6 years ago, about 6 7 years ago, 6 years ago, when before deep learning and artificial intelligence is really the hot topic of the day today. Before all of that, before the very very beginning, I was really into machine learning at a very early stage, simply because I had a lot of friends who worked at Nvidia at that time, who were really into deep learning, and I was also doing some part-time work for them and consulting and things like that. So it really got to a point where I was hearing about this from everyone around me, and I started to slowly get into it myself. And it was at that moment, around that time, that I had a chance to go to a blind school in my hometown in India, to talk to high school kids who are just graduating. They're visually impaired. They've been in the school all their life, and they're just going out into the real world. And so one of my friends invited me there, and she said, just have a chat with them about what you do as a developer, as a researcher, as a developer, what do you actually do, right? And the it was supposed to be a 30-minute conversation. I remember this so clearly. I remember going there, talking to these kids about being a developer or a designer. It's just about solving problems. I wake up every day in the morning. I solve problems for a living, right? And I just volleyed a question back to the kids there in the audience about what it is, what kind of problems would they like to solve when they step out of the classroom and go out into the real world, right? And a lot of them started talking about being able to do things more independently. Like, a lot of them said they want to read a book independently. They wanted to be able to go out independently, make impromptu plans, right? Like, just if you see a nice sunny day, they want to be able to step out, go wherever they want to go entirely by themselves. And I just, that whole 30-minute conversation snowballed into a 2 hour, sort of a life-changing experience for me, talking to these kids and understanding how independence was something that sighted people took for granted so much, and how for a lot of the kids in that audience, independence was such a prized thing that was, and especially in a country like India, where there is not a lot of awareness around accessibility, right? It was it was like huge insurmountable obstacle for them. And it was around that time that I also had a chance. Like, I do have my co-founder, who's also called Karthik, and he's a designer. He's an industrial designer. And right after that conversation, the two of us met, and I was just talking to him about how there are many aspects of deep learning that were starting to become as good as humans or even better than humans in some instances. For example, OCR, optical character recognition, or being able to recognize text. Computers were really outperforming humans in some areas there. And I was talking about how we could actually take these advances, combine that with really good design, and see if we can build something that could help people with a visual impairment, right? And in the very beginning, the two of us started working on this, not with the aim of becoming a company. That was never actually the aim. I was in between jobs at that time. I was going to get married, so I just took a 6-month sabbatical, and I thought this was a really interesting problem to work on. And the idea was just make it into a project, put it out into the world, and see how they and just raise some awareness around this. Like try to showcase AI as a thing that can help people with disabilities, or AI and accessibility could work together. And so that's how the Envision project started. And I started working on it, I very clearly remember, on Feb 2017. And the initial idea was that, my co-founder, he was studying industrial design in the Netherlands. So he was here in the Netherlands already, and he would do all the design and the user research part, and I would do all the prototyping and actual building of it. And so our aim was just create a simple prototype app, throw in, image captioning, throw in OCR and a few other things, and then just, showcase how AI can work really well for accessibility. And so we started working on it, and you know over a period of time, over like 6 months, we had around 400 500 people on our test flight beta, who were just using the app, using this really clunky prototype app that had like a 40% crash rate, and it was just, like there was no framework or no software at that time like how there is today to deploy machine learning models on device. So we had to build a lot of it by hand. And I remember just spending a lot of time on it and working on it, and people absolutely loved it, right? It organically grew to 500 odd people, and at the end of 6 months, I still remember we ran out of funding from the university. I was a bit overdue on my credit card bill, so I was like, okay, I'm going to wrap this thing down. And I still remember, on a Friday evening, I sat down and wrote out an email to all these 500 people, thanking them, for being a part of this project, and saying, hey, we're going to shut this thing down. It's been amazing. You guys have, shown that, AI and accessibility could be a great fit. And we're going to take all of this stuff. We're going to try to put this out there and try to show the world that this is something really cool. And I remember waking up the next morning, was a weekend, almost all of the 500 people like got back to me. Like every single one of those people actually wrote to me and said, why are you guys shutting this down? I've been using this, to do my schoolwork. I've been using this to, read stuff. I've been using this to operate my washing machine independently. And I've been able to do so many things around my, in my life independently. It's just stupid that you guys are shutting it down. Like if you're serious about this stuff, you should actually build this as a company. Right. And it was at that point that it actually struck us that, wait, there are people out there who really are benefiting from this kind of stuff. And if we're serious about this, and it's a huge passion for me to be able to build technology that can have impact on people. It's been this itch that, I've had ever since I first encountered programming as a kid. And I finally have this opportunity to scratch that itch. And I just thought, yeah, screw it, let's do it. And I moved from India all the way to the Netherlands to start the company. And we've been doing it for like almost 5 years now, ever since.